Kia ora e hoa. Hello, my friend. Haere mai. Come and join me. It's been a little while since we've had a story in Suzy's Book Corner, isn't it? Well, that's because I've been really busy making new episodes of Home Learning TV. Hey, but we're here now, in a different corner. But let's make the most of it and have a story now. Would you like a story? Well, this is called The Essential Fairy. It's written by Kenna and it's illustrated by Tim Hunt. Are you nice and comfy? Ready for a story? Oh, let's begin. Well, this is dedicated to all essential workers who keep New Zealand running during the Covid19 pandemic, including the Tooth Fairy. In the land of the Kiwi, the borders were shut. Planes were all grounded and services cut. Cities were empty, people unseen, all because of a virus called Covid-19. Jacinda Ardern and Ashley the doc fronted most days to a nation in shock. They warned us to distance, keep washing our hands, stay in our bubbles, not visit our nans. Social distance, cover your sneezes, wash your hands, everybody. As she watched the TV, 6-year-old Ruth pushed with her thumb at her wiggly front tooth. She rocked it and worked it right out of her gum. She showed it with pride to her dad and her mum. Ruth put the small tooth in a tin by her bed, by Pastel the pony and scruffy old Ted. She hoped the Tooth Fairy would find it okay and leave her a coin when she took it away. But it was not at all certain with COVID about that tooth-fetching fairies were allowed to go out. While hopeful kids slept with teeth by their bed, Val the Tooth Fairy was scratching her head. She scrolled through a list with the end of a pencil to find if her job was labelled essential. There were doctors and nurses and rubbish collectors, cleaners, police and safety inspectors, supermarket staff and owners of dairies, but no mention at all of working tooth fairies. Val pursed her lips and rubbed her sore back. She closed down the workshop and folded her sack. She was very perplexed and rather dejected to think of the teeth that would not be collected. When Ruth woke up early, she gaped with despair to find that her tooth was still sitting there. "It's COVID, my love," said her dad with a shrug. "Nothing's the same because of that bug." Ruth frowned at her dad. It just couldn't be right. Fairies were clean and worked only at night. With the right PPE, such as gloves and a mask, they'd be super hygienic when performing their task. As Val the Tooth Fairy rested her wings, mended her sack and did other things, a girl on a mission was writing a note. To the Prime Minister, no less, it said, and I quote, "Dear Jacinda Ardern, my first name is Ruth. I'm 6.5 and I've lost my front tooth. I thought that for sure the Tooth Fairy would show, but she didn't, you see. And I thought you should know. I'm not blaming the fairy or trying to cause trouble. I just have one question from here in my bubble. Why is the Tooth Fairy not on the list of essential core workers? Has she been missed?" When the letter arrived on the beehive top floor, there were many red faces, a tremendous uproar. The list was recalled and amended in haste. With a press briefing due, there was no time to waste. On TV that day, the PM cleared her throat and held up a letter, the one that Ruth wrote. I have here a question from a young girl called Ruth. She's 6.5 and she's lost her front tooth. She fully expected the tooth fairy to visit, but she didn't, you see, and that's hardly fair, is it? We've taken advice, and from midnight to night, the tooth fairy becomes essential by right. Easter Bunny will also, and Santa Claus too, under special new regs, Clause 152. At Fairy HQ, Val clapped and she cheered to hear that her job was finally cleared. Her role was essential, it was after all. She grabbed a big sack for an extra large haul. What Ruth had achieved for the kids of the nation saw her awarded a rare commendation. And when her tooth disappeared from the tin by her bed, along with a coin was a short note that read, "Thank you, young lady, for taking a stand to help ensure kids were dealt a fair hand, and that workers like us are valued as well as essential core workers. Yours truly, Val." And that's the end of the story. Oh, when Anna heard the story about the Prime Minister making the tooth fairy an essential worker, she thought it would be really good to write a story about it. And it was a very good story. Well, you can find out more about this story and about the other stories that Anna writes at annakenna.com. And how about you come and join me again soon? I'll be back next week with another story. Ka kite, my friend. Goodbye.